Twitter and many other corners of the internet can be a really awful place. This is something I'm sure that many of you watching probably already know by now. At this point, every website has a dark side, and even when you aren't trying to find it, sometimes it just creeps up on you, which is the case for a lot of what I will be diving into today. Now, at the glance of this title, you might be thinking that I'm going to be talking about awful Twitter users today, people like Maps, or that weird girl who forced herself on animals and got arrested, but now she had made a comeback and is tweeting about doing things that are even worse, allegedly, or just the toxicity of Twitter overall, with obsessions and arguments that are always seeming to blow things out of proportion. But not today, dear viewers, not today. Sadly, we have something much worse to discuss. You see, surprisingly, that all seems to be surface level stuff compared to what we will be discussing today. I've had so many requests to talk about this topic, or at least a topic that will be mentioned in a larger situation in this video. And for everybody who has requested for me to talk about that, there's been somebody requesting me not to. I just want to let you know that this is something that I feel is really important to talk about, and I'm talking about it because I want to talk about it. I have always said this: if you do not feel comfortable talking about something, then you obviously don't have to. You don't have to make a video on anything that you do not want to. I do want to talk about this. I think that there is a lot of importance that can come from speaking about these situations today. Speaking of which, the things we will discuss today are really unpleasant. I'm just letting you know now. In fact, this might just take the cake for the darkest video I have ever made, or ever made so far. This video is going to make the Bella Janky video I made look like sunshine and roses. Actually, I don't think anything can really make that video look like sunshine and roses, because a lot of the things she has allegedly done were very horrific, but somehow this seems to be even more horrific than some of the things she has done, which was still really horrific. That's not to say that it wasn't. I'm going to be extremely vague when talking about the details regarding some of the things we will be discussing today that involve animals, and this is for two reasons. One, I obviously don't want to get smited by the YouTube gods. Say the wrong thing, your video basically gets age restricted, and then nobody sees it, and then there's no point to try and make a video to inform you about it because you're not going to see it. And number two, this is likely going to be upsetting to even those with the strongest stomachs, and I don't want to make a video that's going to upset you. I want to make a video that will educate you on things that are going on, and unfortunately that involves some really not so great things. I'm still going to dial it back as much as I can to spare your sanity and mine as well. Many years ago, there were tons of videos online posted as shock content. I briefly mentioned in a previous video of mine that someone used music from one of these viral shocking videos in a recent TikTok recording of a homeless man. Some of you knew right away what video this song was originally from, but some of you were lucky enough where you didn't catch on or never saw the video where this song came from in the first place. Anyway, the viral video this music was in was called 2 Girls, 1 Cup. Now, this video wasn't illegal, and I don't think anyone that partook in this was severely hurt. I mean, I'm sure they had to deal with some kind of bacterial issues for that, at the very least, some bad breath at the very least, I said, but I assume that they are okay. Still, it was really gross. So gross, in fact, that it became a trend to record the reactions of people watching this. Back then, everybody knew or heard of this video. Like I mentioned before, this video had even made it to mainstream television, such as Brian recording Stewie's reaction to it on Family Guy.
What? What? No. What is wrong with you? Oh my God!
Now, if my memory is correct, this is what kind of started the trend of shock videos. Videos that would be very gruesome and shock the viewers, and people would be like, ew, this is like the grossest thing I've ever seen, and it goes viral because it's nasty, it's gross. I'm sorry, that video was traumatizing for me to see, and I was a kid. I shouldn't even have seen that video, but one of my friends saw it, and they wanted me to see see it. Being under the peer pressure of friends when you're like 11 or 12, you're like, okay, yeah, I could tough this. Nope, I still get sick to my stomach. I didn't like chocolate ice cream before that. Now? Nope. But as trends usually go, you want to always outdo the next thing. So things need to become more and more gross to get more of those shock views. Unfortunately, with this type of thing, everything went from being just unhygienic, for a lack of better term, to crossing a line where people and animals were being harmed, and things were getting really gruesome and violent. For a while, content of people being harmed started to go viral, and since at the time, the internet was still like the Wild West, eventually things seemed to get taken down, but it didn't happen as quickly as it would today. While gaining virality from shocking viewers, it became more apparent that some people engaging with this content were doing so for more than just shock value, they were doing it for malicious reasons. But for others, shock turned into outrage, and this content started getting banned more and more over the years. Some cases having more consequences, such as the police getting involved. But that didn't stop some people from not only viewing these videos, but making their own. A few years ago, a documentary released on Netflix called Don't F With Cats. This went over a story of a man named Luca Magnotta, who had been posting videos of himself unaliving cats in 2010. One video was called One Boy, Two Kittens. So we can kind of see the title resemblance a little bit. This clearly was meant to go into that same shock category, at least in my opinion. This obviously outraged those who saw the content, and many tried getting authorities involved, but unfortunately videos like this continued by Luca, and nothing was done until after 2012, when a man's life was taken, and authorities eventually found that it was Luca who had done it. While it was a good thing that he was arrested and seems to be serving life in prison with no eligibility of parole for at least 25 years, lives were taken and they cannot be regained. Throughout the years, the virality of this type of content slowed down a lot. Of course, that doesn't mean that the content has completely stopped. Unfortunately, it seems that there will always be people that do things like this. But when it does happen to go viral, people speak up about it and seek justice. Unfortunately, as of the past few weeks to months at this point, this content seems to be sparking up again. I don't know, maybe trend isn't the right word, but there has recently been a resurgence of this type of content. It is now making its way to websites like TikTok and Twitter, and even places like Facebook. YouTube seems to be pretty strict and will crack down on a lot of these videos, but even on here sometimes things can slip through the cracks and make their way onto this website. So let's talk about what you've all been waiting for, which is the cat blender situation. Again, we're going to be vague here. I'm not going to go into gruesome details. Over the past few weeks to over a month at this point, this video had gone very viral. A lot of people had stumbled upon it unintentionally. Some people had stumbled upon it and then tried to show others as a way to just say, hey, you know, this is messed up. Something needs to be done here. And for the most innocent viewers watching this right now, no, it is not a video of a cat with a cute little chef hat taking some vegetables, maybe some fruits, and throwing it in a blender to make a cute little smoothie. The cat was what was... yeah. As I've mentioned this topic being heavily requested, once in a while I'll post in my YouTube community tab, which if you aren't yet, make sure you're subscribed with the notification bell on, because I love communicating through the YouTube community tab. I think it's a lot better than going through other forms of social media, which some of you guys don't use. It's all in one place. Anyway, I like to do polls there once in a while, and I sometimes like to ask you guys questions like, what kind of topics do you want me to cover in the near future? One time I asked that, and some of you guys were requesting this video. And at the time, I did not know what the video entailed. I mean, obviously you have cat and blender and your mind can only imagine so much. But when I first read that, I thought to myself, surely it's not actually going to be on websites like TikTok or YouTube or Twitter. So I looked it up on TikTok thinking, oh, maybe there will be people talking about it. That was a dumb mistake. I didn't watch the video, but I saw a photo of it. That took me out. It was bad enough seeing the hamster pictures with Bella Janky in that video. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I made a video on that a while ago and I re-uploaded it recently. This one tore me apart. And I'm somebody who talks about a lot of really dark things. I'm somebody that covers a lot of really dark topics on this channel. And this was a lot for me. Every time I even think about the subject, I can see the picture of it when I close my eyes. And it really messed me up. At first, I wasn't going to talk about this situation, and then similar situations began happening, and this became more than just one incident. This is now becoming something much more of a trend, for a lack of better term. I so badly want to ask, what could drive a person to do something like this? How could somebody be so evil and cruel to do that to an innocent animal, let alone a person? But the reality is that there are people out there who find joy in this. Those who do this are seriously sick in the head and need professional help. They also need to be locked in a cage for the rest of their life, in my opinion, so they can't do any more harm to others. Much speculation has been made regarding the person who had done this and a potential group that they were allegedly involved in. Some claim that the person who had done this was arrested, while others claim that they won't be arrested because the country they allegedly reside in might not have laws against doing this to cats, and others claim that this video could be years and years old at this point and it just so happens to be resurfacing. Because of many conflicting theories regarding the person who had done this, I don't feel comfortable diving into who this person may be, because at this point in time, I'm still not 100% sure, and I do not want to give you the wrong person's information on the slight chance that I am not correct about it, because this type of stuff can really cause a lot of people to be outraged, and some people who are outraged try to take matters into their own hands, even when you tell them you don't condone that, which obviously I don't. When it comes to stuff like this, it can get really dangerous for a person to be accused of something that they may or may not have done. So I just want to be responsible with that. Also, even if you are 100% sure that a person has done something, I again don't condone taking matters into your own hands. It can cause a lot of problems when it comes to legalities, for example, and one, that could put yourself in danger, and two, that can put another person in danger who may not be the person you're looking for, and three, it can also get you in a lot of trouble with the law. So yeah, just so you know, I don't condone taking matters in your own hands on this situation. Don't go seeking a potential person out. If you suspect anything, try to contact your local authorities or try to contact some sort of service that might be able to handle the situation professionally. That is the safest and best way to do things in most cases. I know that not every single time authorities are helpful, and I know that not every single country, as we will get into in a moment, really has laws that prevent this type of stuff. It still prevents you from being in harm's way, and it prevents things from becoming tainted if there could be an investigation. This is evolving into another serious issue, however. Not only were these videos being shared onto TikTok, but it was also being shared on the Twitter as well. And that's where this rabbit hole gets even deeper. And no, I didn't just misspeak here. These videos was correct. I meant plural. There are now multiple videos. Very unfortunately, the cat blender video was not the only video of this happening. There was another video of a cat being harmed that circulated online. I won't go into the details about it, but I do believe this was by a different person, and it was also a different cat. There also tends to be people who are kidnapping cats and posting videos online, which is also horrific. A creator named Drama Queen made a video diving deeper into this, which I will link below. But the thing is, this goes beyond cats as well. Another creator named Turkey Tom made a video talking about monkey hate videos where people would harm monkeys in really disgusting ways and post it online. I'll leave that video linked below as well, but be warned, that is a really, really dark topic and it is really upsetting. But as always, somehow things continue to get worse. The worst thing that I have seen being posted recently was something that circulated on Twitter. An incident had occurred and people were making posts on Twitter after this event. This event being a common thing that happens in the United States anymore that involves I can't say it again, the age restriction thing. There were videos of victims from this type of event circulating online that were not censored out. They were not blurred. They were very graphic, and some of the victims were children. And unfortunately, this was one of the videos I saw in full, and this was something that was just popping up on Twitter left and right and not getting banned or taken down, at least at the time of seeing this. While I was surprised to see support for this Twitter post, the majority of what I saw was backlash with comments along the lines of, how could you post something like this with the possibility of a potential family member of somebody from that video seeing this? And obviously, other people were talking about it being traumatizing and how it should be removed from the internet. The average American person is very well aware that this is a problem that seems to be happening just about every day, if not multiple times a day, all the time. It's a really horrific thing, and it is a very severe reality, but in my opinion, that's something that shouldn't be recorded and posted online. And as many people responded in the comments of this tweet and in the quote tweets, etc., people were saying, could you imagine being a family member of one of the victims that were in this recording, seeing this happen? And I want to add to that, could you imagine being somebody who knows somebody, maybe not even in this video, but just in general, who has been a victim of this? I'm not sure of what the statistic is for people who either were or knew somebody who were victims of violence. Personally, I know somebody who has lost their life to that. It was a situation that happened years and years ago when I was in high school. It didn't happen in a school, but it happened to, I don't want to get into that. It happened to somebody that I knew. Things like that should not just be posted so inconsiderately on social media. The worst part is, you didn't even have to type in certain keywords to find this. It's not like it was buried. All you had to do was type in the county that this happened in at the time, and those videos just kept flooding the top search. It's really, really, really messed up that this happens all the time, and I understand wanting to spread awareness of the severity and wanting to try and make a change. But personally, I don't think this is the way to do it. People are already terrified and traumatized enough when these situations happen. Like one of the commenters said, imagine being a family member seeing that being shared all over social media. But as always, when it comes to social media and things like this, it somehow gets worse. I'm tired of saying that. A YouTuber known as SomeOrdinaryGamers has made a video on the cat situation as well, and in that video, he also pointed out another issue, which is Twitter's hidden replies feature. The hidden replies tab sometimes consists of very disturbing and graphic content. Instead of it being removed by Twitter, it just seems to be sectioned off into this area where most people might not bother to see, but those who click on it run the risk of seeing extremely vile things. But things continue to get worse. When looking into the cat blender situation, for example, I stumbled upon one more video by a YouTuber known as Moth. He made a video talking about this situation and the increasing amount of vile content being posted online. In one of his videos, he mentions how things are now going from social media to direct text messages. Plagued Moth shares how he received texts from an unknown number. The text messages were written in another language, but the files attached included several horrific images of deceased bodies, just to be as vague as possible. Plagued Moth naturally panicked, and here is a clip of him explaining what happened next.
And I freaked the fuck out and contacted a very good friend of mine who also works at the UN. They do cybersecurity and a lot of things. Very seasoned person, very good for advice, and they reassured me that this was a scam. A scam that sent me and death threats. Now, it turns out that it wasn't directed to me. It was directed towards some guy who allegedly didn't, he defrauded people at a brothel. And this is what happens. And if he didn't respond within the hour, allegedly, there was people close to the person's location and he would be next. This person even called my phone. As it turns out, these scams go really deep, and they're even using AI to mimic children's voices and feign kidnappings. This has happened. This happened in April in Arizona to a woman. They took an AI program and mimicked her daughter's voice and made it sound like she got kidnapped.
This has gone from horrible things being spread on social media to going to people's direct text messages. AI programs mimicking voices to convince family members that somebody was kidnapped. On top of that, there are now people, scammers, sending text messages attaching extremely disturbing images to scare people into sending them money, because if you don't, they're telling you that you're next. Do you imagine how horrifying that is? That is so scary. And obviously, you know, if you get something like that, you could always take it to the authorities. You're still, one, being traumatized, horrified, and taking time out of your day to go and get this checked out and then have, you know what I mean? It's just a very traumatizing inconvenience at minimum, and a scam at most to anybody who feels like they need to give their money away to this person who they don't know, and it just is horrifying. I want to thank everybody who has taken a moment to talk about this. I want to thank people who have suggested for me to talk about this. Again, I want to reassure you that I am talking about this because I feel like it's important, because I want to. I am not going to talk about something that really makes me uncomfortable or anything in that regard. What I will say though, this is the most important thing I think I can add to this, is if you have pets, especially cats, because cats seem to be like the main target recently. If they're outdoor cats, please consider bringing them in. And if you have cats that you let outside and they come back in, please maybe just consider not doing that. Try to keep your eye on them. Make sure that they're safe and well taken care of and indoors and under your supervision, because this is something that is so horrific and you never know when or where something like this could happen. Fearmonger, I just want to bring the reality of the situation forward, which is that animals can be unsafe around the wrong people, and I'm not saying their owners, I'm saying if they get out and if they are roaming the town and a stranger comes up to them, you have no idea what they might be able to do to them. Just please be aware of where your pets are, where your loved ones are, and just make sure that they're safe. Allow this video to be a reminder to just hug your fur babies, make sure that they're okay. I'm gonna go grab Shadow as like a little palate cleanser, but before I do that really quick, I want to say thank you so much if you've made it all the way to the end of this video. Thank you so much to everybody supporting me over on Patreon, and thank you so much to everybody who has been giving me super thanks. Let's get into those now. I want to take a moment to thank each and every one of you who were so kind to send me a super thanks, and I also want to thank those of you who were kind enough to send such sweet messages on top of sending the super thanks. The kindness that you guys show me is so above and beyond anything that I would ever expect, and I just want to let you know how much I appreciate that. And as I'm saying this, I'm allowing the super thanks messages to be displayed on the screen here. When I first started reading these out, there was only a couple. I was never expecting to ever receive this many super thanks from you guys, but I still really like the idea of giving you guys a moment to say thank you and to acknowledge your kindness to me. And by the way, don't ever feel like you have to send anything. This is something that has just recently been added to YouTube over the past year or so. So yeah, once again, I just want to give a big thank you to anybody who sent a super thanks, and to those of you who sent really kind messages underneath those. So I know Chester was in the background of my video for the first half. Shadow was over here looking out the window, but this is him. He is a Coco little kitty cat, and I love him so much. We actually had gotten him from my fiance's family member. They had a situation where they just couldn't keep him anymore, so we took him, and he is so happy. He loves life. Ever since we moved, he's really just come out of his shell even more, and he is just such an awesome little guy. He's right behind me. There he is. But he's really sweet, and he loves to cuddle. If I'm upset or feeling down, he lays on my chest, and he's just such an awesome cat, and he's also really goofy. I hope that's a good palate cleanser for you. I hope seeing Chester in the background earlier helped a little bit, but I'm gonna go and take care of my little babies. I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your day. If you are in the Northeast anywhere, I'm looking out my window as I say this, I hope you are staying safe with the air quality right now, because it's bad. That's another reason don't let your pets outside, because the air quality, if you're in the Northeast, the air quality is not great. Thank you so much once again, and I will see you in the next video, whenever that may be, because again, there's been a lot of things going on. See my previous videos or posts for more details, because I just don't feel like talking about it anymore at this point. I'll see you later.